And we are back. Today we are just trying to understand where is the value, and we've gone step by step looking at the different sectors. So far we've already identified Longhorn as an interesting opportunity. It's already up 60%, and then there's the outlook of improved earnings because of the change in the curriculum. We've also identified Kengen because of its future earnings power and the fact that its market is actually opening up. Mr. Kamanda Morara is the one who's actually giving us all this input and all this tidbits of information for your benefit. He is the managing partner at Ashanti Advisory. Just before we took the break, we'd actually circumvented and come to the point that Longhorn and Kengen were good opportunities. Let's look at the blue chip companies. So that's Safaricom and the banks and the likes of EABL and BAT, the ones that we see a lot of trades happening there. Any updates with regards to the pricing opportunities there? Is there anything that we need to be looking out for this week?
As we mentioned earlier, a short while ago, Safaricom and KCB are both going ex-dividend. Safaricom is going ex-dividend today.
Okay.
There was a special dividend of 62 cents. There's the usual dividend of 1 shilling 25 cents.
Yes.
That's a significant dividend. So once it goes ex-dividend, there's a possibility that the share price could dip. Now, sometimes, it doesn't happen always, some shares dip way beyond the value of the dividend. The dividend might be 1 shilling, but the dipping might be 3 or 4 shillings.
So this is because Safaricom is closed at 28.15 on Friday. So we could actually see it go 28.15 minus 2 or minus 3 shillings.
It's possible.
It's possible. Okay.
It's possible because, again, with the general bear market conditions that we have now, what could be holding up some of these counters was the expectation of the dividend. Once it goes ex-dividend, there's a possibility that it might go down significantly. If it does, then that's a buying opportunity. Okay. And to develop further on the Safaricom story, there's the issue of Fuliza. I think they lent more than 80 billion, I guess, in the first quarter or the first 6 months of the year.
Yes.
Now, if they maintain their momentum, I know they're sharing those revenues with KCB and with CBA.
Do you have a sense of the revenue share in terms of percentages? What stays with Safaricom, what goes to the
banks? I think to something like 40, 40, 20.
Okay.
So KCB 20, CBA 40, Safaricom 40.
Okay.
So obviously if that kind of business continues growing, then we are looking at a new revenue stream.
Okay.
Then if what I'll just call casual observation. I've been a very loyal Airtel client, and as I walk around, I struggle to see their shops. You know,
okay.
So it just shows you that Safaricom, they've maintained their dominance.
So why have you never changed if you've been a loyal Airtel client? Is it that you don't see any value in the Safaricom offering?
No, I use Safaricom for M-Pesa.
Yes.
So that's again telling you what happens is that as much as I'm an Airtel user, I still have to use Safaricom.
So there's a stickiness there.
There's a stickiness there.
Okay.
So we see that obviously bolstering Safaricom.
Okay.
And then also things like, I'll say even the quality of their voice, depending on where you are in the country. So there are scenarios if I'm out somewhere remote, I might find, okay, Safaricom is a bit more reliable, so I'll have to use
So
that.
very exciting opportunity, Safaricom.
So Safaricom, there's something there for sure.
Okay. If it actually corrects today based on the special dividend and the ordinary dividend, do you think there's any value in getting it at below 26? Or what would be your entry price level after this correction?
Anything below 26.
Anything below 26?
Yeah,
to look at, it's certainly worth anybody's while.
It's worth getting it.
Okay.
Because Safaricom has topped 33.
Yes, it has.
I think it has. And that's on weaker results than what's happening now. Unless there's something catastrophic, I mean, the momentum seems to be Safaricom. And
then what's the next trigger? I know they announced their half-year numbers in November. Do you see any opportunity for an interim dividend being issued this time around?
I'm not certain. I'll just say unless the results are really outstanding.
Okay.
So there might be that. They might want to wait until the new CEO comes in before something very drastic is done in terms of culture that's a bit different. We've seen KCB historically didn't used to do interim dividends, but now they do.
Yes, they do.
So there could be that shift. Maybe the bigger companies might start following the lead of Barclays and these international companies that have those kinds of dividends.
Okay. But you've talked about KCB. KCB also has an interim dividend whose record date is tomorrow. Give us an overview. What's happening there?
KCB, well, there's a story in the media about them acquiring NBK. There's a time the share dipped slightly because it seemed as though the parliament was going to scuttle that deal. But now that it's on the table, the share recovered slightly. We see it as a value addition for KCB. That's going to grow the bank's asset base. It's going to grow, I mean, its size overall.
Okay.
And obviously, with one less player in the market, then we are seeing the stronger players only get stronger.
Okay. So it's a positive overall.
It's a positive for KCB. It's a positive for KCB. They've also been able to negotiate a very favorable pricing.
Yes, they got a very discounted bond.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
So I mean, a national bank has a history. It has a history, it has clients. They have lots of government accounts. So, I mean, it's only a positive for KCB.
Okay. Yeah. And what's the expected correction with regards to the interim dividend?
Again, we are talking of the dividend was what, 1 shilling?
Yes, it was 1 shilling.
About 1 shilling. So we are looking at KCB has traded at about 37, 38 at the lowest,
Yes.
and but hits 41, 42, then pulls back. So it's in that range.
All right.
So for me, I'll be comfortable ex-dividend anything around 38.
Anything about 38 and
37
below?
and below.
Okay, so it's a good opportunity to come back in.
Yes.
Okay, fine. I'm seeing we are at number 4 with regards to investment opportunities.
Yes.
Is there any other sector that you want to bring out?
I'm very excited about insurance.
Oh, you're the first. Tell us. What's exciting about Kenyan insurance companies that are listed?
Now, one thing I always say is that if you look at the big waves in Kenya, we had Safaricom, which is telecommunications, really growing and becoming massive.
Yes.
I think before telecoms, we had the banking sector. We had equity on a roll for a number of years.
Yes, for a very long time.
Yes. Then now we are telecom. So my thinking is that what's the next wave? I'm thinking insurance has been left behind. So maybe it's just a time for insurance.
All right.
Especially for someone who has a 5-10 year time horizon.
Why insurance? Why do you think it's the time for insurance
Number one, just take a walk in the CBD. Like today I was in town and I saw a bank like Consolidated. They have rebranded all of their branches. They've called it an insurance agency. So you've got lots of bank assurance happening. So banks are pushing insurance products very aggressively.
Wow, that's fascinating.
Yes.
So who stands to win? So there's Britam, there's CIC, there's Kenya Re. Give us a brief overview of the investment case and what's your top pick there?
Number one, when you talk about the local insurance companies, because those are the ones you've mentioned Britam, you've mentioned CIC. Again, I like both of them.
Okay.
Britam is now the market leader in life insurance. They've been a market leader for the last few years, and it's quite a significant chunk of the market. They have about 30%. And as guys start taking on insurance, especially life insurance, then I see them continue to do well. In developed markets, the life insurance component of insurance is much bigger than the general insurance component.
But
in Kenya, it's a reverse.
Okay.
So you are beginning to see that pick up. Now, if Britam is say number one in the life segment, a segment that has a future potential as we become more advanced and adopt the rest of the world, then I can only see growth.
Okay.
For the industry as a whole, as I say, with bank assurance and even telecoms coming into this, I just see more penetration.
But for Britam, the recent, not recent, over the last couple of months, 1 to 2 years, there has been a change with regards to the shareholding. Is that an overall positive for their long-term strategy? Is it a good time to actually come in as a new investor? And are you comfortable with the shareholder base as it looks?
No, I'm very happy with it. I think the concern maybe people have been having, particularly with, I'll say, both equity and Britam, is there's a feeling that, just a perception that a certain small group of people hold these shares and control them. So there's always that worry about the corporate governance aspect. And that seems to be improving for both of them. As you mentioned earlier, Equity Bank seems to have brought in a very high-level person from the World Bank to take over as COO. Britam has got Swiss Re coming in as a shareholder. You've got, I think there's African Investors, a PE fund. So with that, then you anticipate that there's just going to be more stability. It's now moving from just a company that was owned by a few individuals to like a truly huge institution that has very strong corporate governance.
So that's very positive, actually, at this point in time. What about Kenya Re? Is there something there?
Kenya Re, I'll maybe give a bit of background based on how I followed that account over a long period of time. Kenya Re has had a lot of foreigners buying into it, but they've sold recently. I don't know why they've sold. Now, there are two things. They've done a 1-for-4 bonus share issue, so that's brought more shares to the market. It's brought more liquidity, so maybe that might improve pricing.
There was a liquidity event actually, all right.
Yeah, so that'll help Kenya Re. And then Kenya Re has perennially been undervalued, so I don't know what's been happening with them. So on a price-to-earnings ratio, less than 5. Book value, less than 1.
So worth evaluating the fundamentals just to see if there's something that anyone is missing here.
Yeah, maybe there's that concern of things which have had Kenya Airways in a way, Kengen, all these. And I always tell people anything that starts with Kenya, unfortunately, they seem to be underpriced, and maybe there's a perception of government interference.
Fantastic. So we have almost 6 names now. I don't know if there's any final stock that you think we must bring out as we come to the near end of the show.
I think I'll just leave it at those.
You leave it at that?
I'll leave it at that, yeah.
Do you have a view on the rate cap discussion? My final question for you this afternoon.
On the rate cap, I mean, that I'm just waiting as well. If it does happen, obviously that helps the banks. Yeah, I see a scenario where the banks have been able to do well even with the rate cap. Now you can imagine if it's removed.
If it's removed,
yes,
some
absolutely.
upside there.
Yeah,
okay, fantastic. Thank you very much, Mr. Kamanda Morara, for joining us today. He is the managing partner at Ashanti Advisory. He's given us a list of names that you can actually go look out for. You can't leave this show without an investment opportunity. If you're not looking at Longhorn, you're certainly looking at Kengen. If you're not looking at Kengen, you're looking at Safaricom. If not Safaricom, you're looking at KCB, there's Britam, there's CIC, and maybe some value at Kenya Re. You really need to be following what Ashanti Advisory is telling its investors who've slowly been getting out of real estate and now getting into fixed income. But if you want to take a risk and go for 5 years into the equities market, then he's the right person to be speaking to. That's all we have for you this afternoon. We will be back again tomorrow, same time. Again, we're always streaming live on our Facebook page, on our YouTube page. That's Metropole TV. Thank you once again and good afternoon.